All right. Hey everyone, this is Diamond Rivera, and we are back with another episode of the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast, episode 167. And the video you just saw is a preview of our special guest tonight. And before we get started, this episode is sponsored by Tubachata Radio, and we are available on Spotify and other streaming platforms. And everyone, we're going to get right to it. We have all the way representing New York and the Bay Area, the one and only Angels Vargas.
Hey, hello, Diamond. Great to be here.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. As we've talked as well privately, me and you, we're busy men. Right after this, we're going to our respective events and having fun tonight, this Friday night. But I'm glad that we get a chance to scoop you up real quick for a few minutes, catch up, and kind of reminisce. But most of all, Angels, we appreciate you here at the podcast for spending your time with us and helping us get to know you a little bit more.
Sounds good. Great to be here with you, man.
Absolutely. And if many people don't know me, you really do go far way back into our New York days and seeing for me how far you've come from your early days, even at Pia Canela, to now you being a part of one of the West Coast's most amazing, legendary events to date, in my humble opinion. For me, this is an honor because I think it's also so much more not just highlighting your success, but also helping people understand who you are before it all and how it took you to get to where you are. So, for me, as I do with many people, hey, we got to take it way back. I mean, for many people, they see you as the a figure in San Francisco alongside Mao and Fong, but I think also people need to understand the journey. So, Angels, kind of take us way back before the dance shoes, before it all. Help us understand where it all started.
I think New York environment, when you go to any clubs and they play salsa, if you don't know how to dance salsa, you feel like a stranger. And every time they play salsa, I had to like sit down and wait for the merengue to come back or the bachata to come back. And like for some reason, I came across a class by Joe Burgos from Piel Canela in City College. It was the Mambo Club. Every Thursday they had a free class. It was huge. It was a like 200 students class, and that's
Wow.
where I started. And Joe gave us like a free month class card, and during the summer I had nothing to do, and I said like to myself, let me go check out Piel Canela, and then I was hooked. I went to Piel Canela for like 2 years and a half, completed all the courses, and then social dance like until I moved out of New York.
Wow. And so it's interesting that you said that, like you said, being more of a social dancer, because you realize most people, as we do in New York, when it comes to dance companies, you usually take some classes. Then for people, it's, am I going to be performing now? Or this is just something I'm having fun with? But for me to see with your social dancing, just like the video we just saw, how just the fluidness, the smoothness, the comfort, the connection you have with the dancer, that really shows. So, my question to you is, what was it like actually? After taking your classes, of course, your initial experiences social dancing in New York?
Like I remember my first social,
Hmm.
and it was a Piel Canela social back in Stepping Out Studios. And I always remember an advice that Joe Burgos gave us as a beginner, because it's really strange to go to a social that they only play salsa. I never saw a
Hmm.
party that way. But one advice he gave us is like, the little you know might bore the advanced dancer, but you have to spread the pain. You have to distribute the pain across the dance floor and
Yeah.
ask everybody one dance. Don't repeat the dance because they might not say yes. But
Hmm.
most people will say yes. So that was my first experience, and I was doing my right turn, left turn, and cross body lead. I think that was my first social there.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, hey, we all know the initial start, when you barely know a few combinations you remember, and you're a little bit nervous, but over time you progress. So for many people who don't know, of course, you coming from New York, and I hear so many people ask, "Oh, what was it like back then?" The quote unquote back in those days. What are some of those initial experiences you remember of, of course, learning at Pia Canela, but that dance scene in New York?
I think I feel privileged that I lived throughout like a golden age. I still consider it the golden age of salsa, like
Hmm.
from 2000 to 2000, like 10, 11. We had so many great events. Like Jimmy Anton was back back in the days like the top social in the world, and people will drive from Philadelphia like 5 hours, like from Boston. Like you to go to Jimmy Anton's, there was like a corner for the advanced dancer, a corner for the beginner,
Hmm.
and you have to kind of graduate. You have to start in the beginner section and go peak in the advanced section, like to get
Hmm.
inspired. But keep working on your stuff so you can like one day maybe dance in that corner with the Magna Gopals and the Vitico
Oh,
La Magia and all these people that were so amazing in that during that time period.
man, and just the names you're saying, and also many people don't know the old days of the Jimmy Anton socials. I believe near 14th Street, and definitely that social is legendary. I definitely know what you're talking about. Me as a teenager going there and realizing there's levels to this. This isn't, you're gonna learn over time, but there's a time when the pros are there, and there's a time when the people who are learning are there. But overall, if you're passionate about what you do, you will grow. People like Vitico, Magna Gopal, Osmal Perrones, the list goes on. Many people have stepped in and out of the legendary Jimmy Anton social, which is still going on to this day. But now, Angel's understanding, of course, your start in New York. Then, of course, the soon migration really to California. So, kind of help us understand what created that. What was the step in the right direction or the path forward going towards the West Coast?
So I started computer science in City College, like software development,
Hmm.
and and after I graduated in 2009, the financial crisis hit, and it was really hard, like for like from 2009 to 2011 to find a job in the field.
Hmm.
And like early 2011, I got an offer and I started working in that company. And they kind of did a bait and switch on me. They were like once I was hooked on the company and I really liked it, like 2 months into it, they said, by the way, we are moving the whole company to California. And I had no idea of California. I never been to the West Coast. Like I imagined that everything looked like LA, like really sunny and like
Yeah.
and hot, and never heard of like Redwood City or the Bay Area. I mean, like you hear California and you think surfing, you think all these things.
Yeah.
So I was like, I really need the money. Like I was kind of like getting back on my feet after the financial crisis,
Hmm.
and and I wanted to be able to help out my family, like be on a position to help. So I said, like, let me go take that chance, probably a 2 year plan, and get the experience. And then once I have that experience, I can come back to New York and work on my field. And that was how it started. And then you kind of renew it like 2 more years and two
Yeah.
more years. And now it's 10 years in the Bay Area.
Wow, man. That's amazing. Kind of that journey of you of course initially, like, you have a plan of, I want to go there, stay for a bit, come back home, utilize my skills, but that 2 years turns to four, turns to six, turns to eight, and now 10. And for many people who don't know, the California area is really synonymous with salsa, whether it's LA, but also, in San Fran as well, besides New York. Because we know New York is, the big on two capital, as they say. But, California in itself, with on one and different styles as well, is really, really interesting. So, My question to you: moving over to the Bay Area, what was the initial experiences like for you now coming from New York as a dancer? Just being in that scene, kind of really shifting to a whole new community.
So I think my first experience with the salsa community here was when I was looking for apartments. I happened to be on a weekend here that they had a social, and it was one of the biggest social at the time. It calls like the Beat, and I went to the Beat, and there were like 150 dancers, and they could dance on two, and I had a great time. And I was like, I don't think the move will be that bad, because I was thinking I'm gonna move to a place that has not on two.
Yeah.
Like the scene might not be the best, but like I felt really happy to see like a social that was popping and everybody could dance on too. So I kind of fit right in. Like once I moved, I
Hmm.
started hitting all the socials, and something that many people might not know is that San Francisco is an on two city. Like all the main
Oh,
socials are on two. The Congress is mainly on two, and people might think that oh, it is the West Coast is on one, but the San Francisco scene is really strong on two.
wow. So, like you said initially, you just hitting up Congress, I mean, not even just Congresses, but festivals or socials out there. What are some of the ones that really are kind of in your mind of the ones that you really had so much fun at in the Bay Area?
So the Bay Area doesn't have that many events,
Hmm.
but I had a chance to go to the old San Francisco Congress. Was a lot of fun back in the days. The San Francisco Salsa Festival is a lot of fun. They usually have a live band, and the Bachata Festival used to be really really strong. Like when I moved here in 2010.
Mm.
So I think it's a dancing area. Like people
Yes.
love dancing. So salsa, bachata, souk, kizomba is thriving in the area.
Absolutely. So that's actually a question I have for you next is, coming from New York, and we know at one point salsa was king. At one point, styles like zouk, bachata, kizomba were really on the back burner. I remember in times in New York, you'd be lucky if you got two or three bachata songs at a social. Very lucky. But as we see now, fast forward and realizing that quote of bachata is taking over, quote unquote, how global it is. What was that introduction like for you to kind of see in San Francisco, but really seeing how the bachata scene was growing?
So I've been dancing for 18 years, so I have seen that evolution that you're talking about, like
Hmm.
how the New York Congress didn't even have a bachata room back then,
Yeah.
and how many congresses had a small bachata room that people used to go there to kind of like cool off,
Yeah.
because it was not really like something that organizers really thought about. Like it was just a room with a DJ, random DJ playing bachatas for people to rest a little bit and then
Hmm.
go back to salsa. So I seen that evolution here as well in the Bay Area, that they used to have only one social, and now there are more bachata socials than salsa socials. And usually the salsa socials will be a bit smaller, probably half the size of the bachata events, because
Wow.
bachata now is like really. We even have a social called bachata is taking over, because it
it felt it felt like you didn't even want to say it yet,
there is
but
an
hey,
actual social with that name.
oh my god. And hey,
But
with our
I
dance.
think part of the mission, so part of the mission as a salsero at heart is always to keep salsa alive, and
Yeah.
do events of quality that highlight salsa, because salsa is not is not going anywhere, even though like many people might think that way. But
Yeah.
salsa is thriving in Europe, in Asia, in the Bay Area, so it's still strong.
Oh, absolutely. And I would definitely say this from just seeing the amount of visuals over the years, learning from people who've been to Europe. there's a complete difference between the European dance scene and the States. Hearing from people from Europe, a lot of them cater more to technicalities or technique, but in a sense of they're more focused on social dancing than sometimes actually performing that I've heard from. Is that something you kind of agree with, that, the European scene is kind of more focused on social dancing than the performance aspect?
So yeah, I've been going to Europe since 2011 to
Hmm.
like various congresses. From 2011 up to now, like 10 years of going to their biggest events. And I will agree that it feels like Europe makes me feel how I used to feel back in the days in the New York Congress, that I will go to the New
Mm.
York Congress and dance till like 5 a.m. and have a blast, like dancing with people from all over the world, all over the
Hmm.
country. So I think Europe is kind of like taking that essence that we used to have
Yeah.
and kind of putting the focus on the dancing. And because the European business model is a little bit different, like they don't let amateurs on the stage in most congresses. So
Hmm.
all you see is like, let's say 12 shows from the pros, and then you social dance, but you'll be social dancing with probably a pro from Norway that didn't perform in that congress, or a pro from France that didn't perform in that congress. So the level of quality of dancing, like social dancing, is really high.
Mm.
And people kind of like take the time to train. Not only they love social dancing, but they also take classes and train. So you can feel the difference of an event like Berlin and Warsaw, and like Milan on Two Congress, Mamboland. Like
Hmm.
those events, the quality of dancing is really high.
Wow. And see, coming from a person like yourself that has that experience, then I guess what I've been saying is definitely correct, because don't get me wrong, I love the States, but dancing also with artists myself from overseas, like I just feel a difference. And I definitely hope it motivates us in the States and a lot of cities to really focus a lot heavily on the social dancing aspect, because I believe you can't grow as a dancer if you don't social dance. I mean, that's the a lot of times the best teacher that's going to help you get better, that's going to help you learn things, do's and don'ts. So next, I kind of want to highlight, I believe it was 2015 that the I Heart Mambo Social was created, if I'm correct. So kind of help me and us understand the creation of that, because I believe you were part of that alongside others as well.
So yeah, I Heart Mambo. It was we started in 2015, and initially the group was created before my time, like 4 or 5 months before I joined. But they never launched. They never did a
Hmm.
social. But that December for New Year's Eve, I threw a social for the first time.
Yes.
I threw a New Year's Eve social. I never done a social in my life, and we got like 150 people. Like it was so much fun. So I think when Mao saw that, he was like, I think this guy can help us because he has some
Yeah.
experience throwing socials. And they asked me to join, and I was part of that initial brainstorming on for launching iHeart Mambo, like the creation of the
Hmm.
logo, like the branding of it, and that's when we started. And iHeart Mambo is a not-for-profit social, so it was kind of like a novel idea of
Hmm.
people really like. It was like 12 members at the time, like putting their time together to bring the community something of quality,
Yeah.
and to keep like salsa alive, and also have a place to go, like a place of quality to go. And that was kind of the initial process. Like all the money made was reinvested into buying speakers, buying cameras, paying the DJs. And later on, it developed into a social that was able to bring Eddie Jr., Yamule, Franklin Diaz,
Yeah.
Juan Matos, like Sapphire, all these people that you sing in videos, Bercy, Rodrigo, all of them have come through, like have visited iHeart Mambo, Adolfo, Tania. So like we're really proud of what we have done in almost 8 years, because it will be 8 years in February,
Hmm.
of how we have helped not only keep salsa alive but also motivate people to train more, travel more, and kind of like care more about their communities and growing the dancing. So there's so many people nowadays that are contributing their times
Yes.
to like teach a class, or like volunteer in an event, in a local Bay Area event, because they want to see their dance grow. They want to see their community grow.
Mm.
And I think San Francisco right now has a really thriving and helpful community.
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest with you, just to see how far San Fran has come, I mean, especially through visuals, like you said, me for years seeing the San Francisco SBK, I believe it's Congress Festival, if I'm mistaken, and realizing I can see the attention to detail. I can see the reason you choose specific people, specific artists coming in, really showcasing and highlighting your event. I've seen people from New York just so highly anticipate your event about how they're going, why they're going, and has that family atmosphere from what I hear. And I love that. So, kind of give us some understanding now of your involvement with the San Francisco SBK Congress.
So the San Francisco SBK Congress is, the co-founders are me, Fong, and Mao.
Hmm.
And we started, our first year was 2018. So it's only been 3 years, even though the growth has been really tremendous.
Yeah.
It's been only 3 years of us doing the event. And part of the concept was like we went to Europe so many times and we enjoy Europe, like the social dancing, the focus on the social dancing,
Hmm.
like the attention to details that they have. Like I went to a congress in Croatia that at the end of the night, 7 a.m., like there was somebody giving you croissants. Like I never seen that in my whole life. It's like how thoughtful is that? That these people are tired and hungry. Let me give them chocolate croissants.
Wow.
So like things like that, that you when you travel, it kind of expand your mind and seeing like how other people are doing it, like
Hmm.
the care they have. Even like the Croatia Congress, Warsaw, how these organizers dance with everybody. They socialize. Like they don't put a wall between them and the
Yeah.
people. They are part of the people, and they attend all the congresses too. So they support each other. They like that friendship like really rubs off, and that's something that we are trying to kind of recreate in San Francisco, like that
Mhm.
social dancing love. And we we had two nights this year that ended at 8:30 a.m.
Wow.
and which is unheard of, because
Yeah.
nowhere in the US you will dance salsa until 8:30 a.m.
Oh no.
and and usually if you travel to many congresses in the US, the salsa room dies like around 3, and then everybody goes to the bachata room and the
Yep.
party continues there. But in SBK, we send bachateros to bed. Like like the salsa room ends. The salsa room ends at 8:30, while everybody else is sleeping. So we kind of really proud of what we have achieved, and the
Hmm.
love people have. Like I had somebody from LA tell me that on 2019 when she came and she danced till 8:30, she cried.
Wow.
She felt the emotional, because that's something she used to experience in LA Congress back when Albert Torres used to run it.
Wow.
Like that
That
love
says
for
a
the
lot.
dance, that intensity, like being surrounded by people that love dance as much as you do, that love music, like the DJs as much as you do, that love like training, like
Hmm.
quality training. Like so once you I think once you try SBK, you really are converted into the family.
Hey, you got to keep it real. I mean, like you said, at your event, we got to send the bachateros to bed when in reality, a lot of times nowadays, it's the opposite. So I definitely applaud that because Also for me being, originally a salsero, I'm a dancer at heart. But no matter what, I'll tell people I love filming. But if you give me a choice between the salsa room and a bachata room, I'm gonna have to go with the salsa room. That's just me. It's just a New York thing in me, so I can't give that up. And lastly, at least before we get into our segment called the randoms, I really want to understand now. Understanding with us as a whole, as a community, what we've gone through over this past year and a half with COVID, how it's really affected our dance community greatly from New York all the way to the West Coast and abroad. But also realizing now we've come back to a sense of normalcy in a sense, and realizing we were able to have an event like yours coming back. So my question to you is, from me seeing the photos, the videos, and everything, can you give me an understanding of how it felt to bring the community back and bring back an event that's so highly regarded?
I think in general, as dancers, we suffer a lot through the pandemic because, like, not feeling that touch for so many years, like that, those
Hmm.
interactions with other dancers, like the friendships you create on socials when you socialize and you sing and you play the instruments and you kind of catch up with people's lives.
Hmm.
I think we, for like a year plus, we kind of like miss all of that and miss the traveling to an event, traveling to a congress. So for many people, this was the first congress out of a pandemic. Like they kind of felt comfortable. They had their booster, they had their 2 doses. Like they felt like, okay, I'm ready now to
Yeah.
start my life, my Congress life, go back and because Congresses are a reunion of friends, and people
Yes.
go like see that person that they saw a year or two ago, and they go to a pre-party and socialize in a room and kind of catch up. So it felt great for many people to be back on the stage after 2 years,
Yeah.
like be back teaching, be back performing, like so overall, like everybody was like happy to be back and kind of get some sense of normalcy, even though we are not completely out of it.
Hmm.
But like you can feel that air of
Yeah.
normalcy coming back.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, and having an event like yours that just passed, just seeing from the visuals, whether it's performances, social dancing, what have you, just seeing the joy, the smiles. I mean, like you said, dancing until 8:30 a.m. That must show you how much people love your event and are willing to sacrifice sleep just to dance all night long into the morning. But I think it helps us now transition lastly to our segment called the randoms, which is about 10 questions or so that will help us and myself get to know you a little bit better, Angel. So all I need to know is when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, number one, we're gonna throw a softball question. Your favorite color?
I like black a lot.
Okay. Hey, black never hurt anyone, especially in an outfit going to a social. I myself am wearing black. All right, number two. If you could dance with one person right now, you're at your favorite event, you have the last dance, and you can choose whoever you want to dance with. Who is it?
Oh, with my girlfriend. Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer. Awesome. All right. Next question is, from your many years of traveling, can you give me one specific Congress, festival, social, what have you, just one event that if you could be there right now and close your eyes and you'll be there, which event is it?
To me, my favorite one in the world is Warsaw Salsa Congress, Salsa Festival,
Hmm.
and that's a congress I always look up to because it is such an amazing production and reminds me of like the heydays of New York Salsa Congress.
I love it. I love it. All right. Number four, let's take it back to New York right now. If you could be at the old school Jimmy Anton social and you can dance with one New York dancer, who would it be?
I I will say Yesenia Peralta from way back in the day.
Oh, yes, my former teacher from, and also the owner of Sangre Nueva, used to be part of Caribbean Soul, sister to Ishmael Otero, legendary queen. Yes, I love that answer, man. Just bringing back nostalgia for me.
But, but back in those days, my level was so low that I was never there. Like,
Oh my god. All right, number 5. This may be interesting. We've talked that you've actually performed in recent years, but we're in a new day, a new age, a new time, a new community. Do you think we would ever catch another performance from Angels Vargas?
yeah, you'll see me in Yamule, San Francisco, 2022 again. So
Oh, looking forward to that indeed. All right, I love it. All right, next question is, if you could have one meal right now, what would it be?
I I I would really like a slice of New York pizza.
I'm assuming the pizza in San Francisco is subpar, if I may say.
Yeah, New York is top notch.
Even our dollar pizza is pretty good. All right, I like that. I like that. All right, next question is, Angels. If a friend of yours is visiting the Bay Area, and they're saying, Angels, I want to have the Bay Area experience, what is one place you're going to be taking them to?
There is a taqueria called Taqueria Vallarta, which
Hmm.
is some of the best tacos in the whole Bay Area.
Oh, tacos. I love that. I love that. Okay. All right. Next question is, of course, you working with organizations such as the San Francisco SBK Congress, but your many years of experience. I'm going to give you this right now. Imagine you probably had this experience, but you're at a Congress right now, and somebody says, Angels, I want to give you the opportunity of giving me the last performance. Who's closing in your mind?
You mean the last performance in a Congress?
Yes, somebody says
I
Angels.
think I think Yamule is the eternal closer for me. Like it's
Mm,
hard to top that level of artistry and difficulty in a dance group.
I love
So
that. I love that.
they, they will be closers until they retire.
Awesome, awesome. All right, next question is, since we're on the topic of Yamule, give me and us an understanding of what Osmal Perrones means to you.
Osmar is a brother, a friend. Like we talked a lot on the phone. He's also a mentor and somebody I admire a lot. Like I really love the Yamule style. And even though I didn't learn initially from him, from
Mhm.
2014 up to now, like I've been training a lot with him whenever I see him in New York or workshops in different congresses. So like he's definitely an inspiration of like hard work in the community and and like relentless training, like
Yeah,
professional and like everybody on his team is like a factory of really
yeah,
amazing dancers.
absolutely. I totally agree. All right, next question is, Angels, you're at a social right now. Somebody asks you to dance. What is a huge pet peeve of yours when you are dancing with someone?
I think one of the biggest pet peeves is the like either hair smells like X or something like that.
I would say hygiene would probably be the overall answer. Oh my god. I mean, hey, that's definitely from your experience. I mean, hey, you want the dance to be enjoyable, but have you had that happen before, I'm assuming? Oh my god.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, please tell me the song wasn't like a 10-minute live band sequence. This was kind of like a quick song, I'm hoping.
I don't remember the song, but like it feels long when you are in that position.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've had my share experiences, but it happens. It's life. And now it brings us to our last question, Angels. And it goes like this. Angels, when you're in a new phase in your life, years down the road, and looking back on everything you've been able to accomplish, how would you like people or your community to remember you?
I think I would like people to remember that like everything I've done is with the heart of a social dancer, like trying to create an experience for the community and for myself.
Yes.
Because sometimes like we might not like our situation and we complain about it,
Hmm.
but the best thing for anybody to do is to do something about it.
Yeah.
And that's what dancers in the community that I am in, like we kind of took things by the rein and we said we want to change things up, like
Hmm.
we want things to be better. So we kind of like instead of complaining we started doing. And I think I want people to kind of I don't want people to thank me, but they might appreciate that what we have done and all the hours we have contributed to making things a little better.
Absolutely. I mean, again, the time that you have put in alongside others, the sacrifices you may have made over the years. I mean, you, alongside others, have brought some amazing events, amazing memories, like you've seen this past year with the San Francisco SBK Congress. Again, like I said, seeing the joy in people's faces and the videos I've seen, people coming back and just feeling at home again. And again, I this is my chance to tell you that you've contributed so much, and we thank you because if it wasn't for you and many others who love and are passionate about this, we wouldn't have events like this that people adore. So I thank you for doing this segment. I love doing it always at the end. But now it helps us transition to the conclusion of our talk tonight. And for me, having you on, it really has been a pleasure and an honor because us knowing each other back from our New York days, even me performing, of course, you social dancing. Um, our paths haven't crossed as much, but over the years, staying connected, it definitely means a lot. And having a person like you who took that leap of faith and moved to California, but then eventually got involved in the dance community and now is a part of one of the most beloved events in the Bay Area. Again, we appreciate you. I appreciate you. But before we do go, I'd love to know if you had any last few words for myself and the audience.
So what I like to say is I appreciate a lot what you're doing because it's like it took the pandemic for you to kind of like discover that you had this special talent to connect with the artists, connect the
Hmm.
community. So your interviews are really important in creating that awareness that we are more than just dancers, like we are
Yes.
people. And all this like help, I think, foster that sense of community. Even though we are in different coasts, like you
Hmm.
can still bridge that gap through these interviews. And I think I thank you for being able to do that like without stopping, because some people start and then stop. Like you have
Yeah.
continued producing and working hard. So I really commend you for that.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. It means a lot to me because, as you said, your earlier years in learning, I've been doing this since 1996. This has been my life since I was 5, and going from being a performer to now a videographer, and now working more closely with organizers and learning the business. This is why I do it, because I want to leave the same legacy you want to leave, in a sense of just having people appreciate and be inspired to create more. Because the pandemic showed me that a lot of the artists that I knew, their stories weren't going to be heard, especially when they decided to leave the community. So creating a platform like this that has stories from some of the people we love and adore and have always wanted to get to know more, I'm grateful I can do it because when I'm no longer here, this will be here. People will be able to look at this and say, I know a little bit more about Angels than I did before. So I think that's really special. But I truly thank you, Angels, for your time. I thank everyone that's listened, that will be listening. This episode will be on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts, as well as YouTube and Facebook. And I thank you, Angels, for your time. I thank everyone for listening who will be. This has been another special episode of the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast, episode 167. Also, people get ready. Coming up in a few weeks, we have Mao Mambo from the San Francisco SVK
The
Congress.
legend.
Yes.
You have to call him the legend.
Oh, the legend Mal Mambo we will be having. And stay tuned, everyone. We have some amazing episodes coming your way this December. Again, Angels, me and you are busy people. We got to get to our event. So, everyone, we'll talk to you later. See you soon. Take care.